Whenever I see comments like these, I always kind of chuckle, but I also shake my head in disbelief because unfortunately, this mindset has been ingrained in women that somehow in the past, all they did was serve men. They were nothing more than servants. And it's revisionist history because that isn't the reality. You see, they make that assumption based on the fact that in the past, women primarily stayed home and took care of the house. They did the cooking and the cleaning and raising the kids. And when you look at it from just that side of things, yeah, then they might have been serving men. But they always conveniently forget the other side of the story, what the men were doing. So let's go back, 300-400 years ago. The Middle Ages, if you will. The average family lived in a hut, usually a one-room shack. And yes, mom stayed home, took care of the kids, did the cooking, the cleaning, taking care of the homestead, if you will. Dad, on the other hand, was up at the crack of dawn, was out in the fields raising the crops, or in town taking care of the blacksmithing or whatever job he might have had. And he was doing that for 12 to 14 hours a day, 6 days a week. See, they never talk about that side of the story. They never want to acknowledge that men were working themselves literally to the bone in some cases and killing themselves in the process. And both sides needed to do what they needed to do for the family to survive. Forget thrive, simply survive. But it's typical revisionist history going on. They don't acknowledge what the man did. They only acknowledge what the woman did. And I would bet money the men back then would love to have switched roles. Let the women go out and do the back-breaking work 12 to 14 hours a day, 6 days a week, without fail. And let's be clear, there weren't any vacation, there wasn't any time off. And that one day a week they got off, well, that was spent at church. This was the life in the Middle Ages, and indeed in the frontier in the U.S. for centuries. It wasn't about women serving men. It was about survival. That is the reality. But it's not a reality that feminists are willing to acknowledge, let alone accept.